My name's Jonathan Dennison. Play in Unholy. Recently signed a deal with Prosthetic Records, which we're really excited about. And right now we're in the process of recording our new upcoming record, which will hopefully be released in late April, and it'll be finished recording at the end of January. Yet to be titled, but hopefully people get into it. We're pretty proud of ourselves with it. We have new singer Billy Price in the band. He's awesome. We've already done a couple major tours with him, and he's done really well. His vocals are the person we pretty much need from the start. Amazing. So, the record, I think we're going to be pretty psyched on the end of it. Everything's kind of where we want it to be at. So, it should come out pretty satisfactory, and I think kids should dig it. It's very pounding as opposed to our last record. It's a little bit more straightforward, but it has many more twists and turns. Some sort of stuff that people might think would be unpredictable.
What are you trying to represent or say about humanity with this band of yours?
There's a unifying theme throughout the record and throughout our past record, and we'll probably always be there with Unholy, saying that if there is any sort of purpose, which I believe we have no purpose, we're a mistake, we're a fungus, we're a mold, that just kind of grows and, rots away. But if there was a purpose, we're here to destroy everything around us. We're here to destroy the planet and every form of life that walks on this earth. And in a very fun way, put together a pretty cool story emphasizing this. Very, very dark. The idea for our upcoming record starts where there's life on Earth that has been pretty much left to die but can't die. Everybody has been cursed with immortality, and they can't die. They have been trying to kill themselves for years and years and years. And finally, a sort of disease breaks out, and everybody thinks they're going to die. And instead, everything just goes haywire, and people start eating each other, and all kinds of fun stuff, and things don't go the way they thought it would, and they didn't think that death could be so painful. More than a handful of metal bands that has sort of, discussed the topics of humanity gone wrong, or why humanity is wrong. And much of it is pretty aimless and pointless, and people don't really practice anything to make their lives any different than the people they supposedly hate. If you really think about it, we're here to completely destroy everything that breathes. We're here to destroy the planet. If you're a historian, you would know that. Whether it's a swastika or a cross, we love bloodshed. We love death. It's what makes us tick. As much as people might turn the other way and think, not everybody's like that, the people that count are like that. And the biggest marks of humanity are drawn in blood. Those are the things that people remember.
Do you feel that being straight edge is relevant to your vision in Unholy? Is there a connection?
By far, Unholy is not. It's not politically anything to do with a straight edge or vegan band whatsoever. I myself am straight edge and vegan. And I've been doing this for a while, and I always will. For me to justify how dark my feelings are towards everything around me, I have to be vegan and straight edge, otherwise I'd be a hypocrite. I know I'm not changing the world by doing this, but it's a personal thing where I know at least my hands are washed free of this. To some extent, we're obviously, we're sort of conditioned, we kind of have to live within the freaking, decayed world.
You're making a conscious effort to differentiate yourself.
Right.
From what? And why?
I guess years back, one of my bands that I started called Santa Sangre was sort of a rough earlier version of what Unholy turned out to be. And I was playing around with themes of more of like a dark fantasy aspect to the lyrics than trying to have them outright political and finger pointing. And so Unholy is basically the fleshed out version of what I wanted Santa Sangre to be, where that was a little bit more of a premature version of it. But with the experience that I have with music so far, and accepting the realities of what I think is fun to talk about. I mean, music is so oversaturated. Bands, lyrics are oversaturated. Just recycling center of just repeat themes. And one thing I'd like to say with Unholy is any inspiration that is drawn from the lyrics of Unholy, or is drawn from sources way outside of music. I mean, this comes from ideals. This comes from classic literature. This comes from art. This comes from just the world of dark art. And this is what pretty much bound the thoughts and ideas behind texturing the lyrics of Unholy as to what they are now.
What things could people learn to be more responsible in their lives?
People can't learn anything. By default, we're failure. I mean, there is a beauty to this, and this is something that makes me smile. If you think about this, we're one of the only animals on this earth that thinks about when we're going to die at the youngest age. Most animals, as far as we know it, are oblivious to this, and when it hits them, it just hits them. But from our earliest thought processes, from like 5 years old, kids start thinking about this. I'm going to die someday. It might seem forever, but eventually going to die. 20s come along, 30s come along, death's getting closer. It's coming closer, and it's a curse in a way. We always think about when we're going to die, and it's beautiful. And this is what makes people go mad. And you know what? Like, it makes it fun to watch. Like, as much as people might think people that are serial killers are disgusting, or religious fanatics, like doing mass like annihilations of followers, or whatever it is, it kind of gives us, that's what gives humanity character, like I said, whether it's the Crusades, the Inquisition, the Holocaust, it's all the same. The most remembered marks are drawn with blood, and we paint that well. It's something that that's something that will always be there. I mean, humanity is one of the most selfish animals that have ever walked this earth. There's an amazing person once lived named Anton LaVey, who ran what was called the Church of Satan. And whether somebody agrees with any of his sort of religious beliefs, politically and as a character, he was an amazing person. And he's a naturalist in a way. And one of the things that he believed in, and he openly said, is that every other animal on this earth was within nature's overall scheme. Humanity, on the other hand, we tore ourselves away from that years ago. We have nothing to do with it. We detach ourselves from it. And it's pretty amazing. Every other life on this earth sort of lives within it. Like, they feed off of one another. There's different food chains. For us, I mean, we're fucked. I mean, money drives humanity. Power, greed. And as cliche it is to say that those simple things are, the major defaults, the major fault of, of what makes us who we are, it's like the basic elements that just sets us off for failure. And look at how far we've gone. People would like to say that, right now is 2008, and we've progressed, since 100 years ago. If you think of it, we haven't really progressed whatsoever. We have digital technology, we have just garbage, you know what I mean? What does that do for you? What does that have anything to do with life, And I mean, to say that like somebody didn't live 100 years ago because they didn't have the tools that we did now. If you took it back 100 years, and what we consider a simple life without television, life without cell phones, without the automobiles we have, people would like to think, oh, how did they even live? And I think, I would imagine back in that time, people lived a great life, and they lived more within harmony of the basics. Family, like self-enlightenment, like figuring out what actually made them happy in life firsthand, rather than aside from having somebody tell them, what they're supposed to do in their life to make them have pleasure in some way.